Hi guys, my name's Rosie. I am the designer for Plant Water Boom. We recently put up a short explaining a little bit about our game, but we really wanted to work on these devlogs just to have like a more relaxed environment where we can explain better what we're doing and what we're up to. The game has actually been on development for a while. This is something like a passion project of us we've had for years. We've just been working on it whenever we had free time, which wasn't a lot, or whenever we wanted, but honestly it's been slow. But now we really wanted to just put more effort into it and get it going. Hence the videos and these devlogs. So yeah, we want to have these long format videos where they're just chatty and we explain. Hopefully we get some suggestions from you guys and see what we can improve. We did wanna, we felt the need to backtrack and go back to the beginning. That's what we're gonna show a lot of in the shorts, and also here just to explain our thought process. Until the idea is to just catch up to where we are now, and from there on we can just go real time, see how that goes.
Hello, I'm Velus, but everyone calls me Tata. I'm the other half of Risk a Bear, and as Rosie mentioned, we're making a little hectic mobile game called Plant Water Boom, and my role is to make it work, which means I do the programming. Since we're mostly self-taught, it has been a lot of trial and error to get where we are right now, and it has taken quite a bit of time, but hopefully everything will be going smoothly from now on.
From the very start, we knew how we wanted most of the game to work. We plant the seeds in the garden, water them, and then either harvest them or they explode. So I set out to make the most basic version of it I could, which was just a grid of text. At the beginning, the game was also semi-turn based. Each turn was a second long and everything in the game was supposed to be a set amount of turns. We later changed that to real time because it made no sense or any actual difference to the game feel. I had a list of main features that I wanted to implement, like the watering can, plant removal, explosions, and seed shop. So as I went along slowly adding them, I also changed out the art assets as they were made by Rosie. There were also some small improvements that we came up with along the way, like the low level water indicator and the health bar for the harvest stage. We felt it wasn't clear enough when you can harvest the plants, so for a hectic game, something that shows you the time running out was perfect. Looking back over the commits, I see how gradual the process was, but I can definitely say that I learned quite a bit along the way.
In the art side, my first step was to look through lots of references for both style and the kind of game we want to make. We definitely want to start with something simple for our first game and nothing overly complicated. Obviously, Stardew Valley is a great reference. It's still a super inspiring game for us, even though we're going for a hectic mobile app. Bee and Puppycat is our favorite TV show, and it's also been a great reference, though mostly for color. Other honorable mentions for style are Travel Frog and Usagi Shima, because they're so cute. Then came the time to design. We went through a couple of layout changes and many changes in terms of color. Working with the veggies is definitely the best bit for me. We're not necessarily true to nature's colors, but since everything will happen in a small phone screen, we want to make sure that the vegetables are instantly recognizable. The idea for this game is that the bombs will blend in nicely, so figuring out how to shape them into the vegetables was a lot of fun as well. I think from these, you can also see a lot of where the inspiration came from, at least for the grid system. And this is Clementino, the best buddy to work with. Other than that buddy back there. Look at that face.
So this past week, I've been working on the weather system that I wanted to implement for the longest time. I wanted to have a list of possible weather options that keep cycling based on probability and some amount of time. But to start, I decided to make it quite simple. Every 10 seconds or so, a random weather will be generated. First, I started with visual effects for the rain. I made them using basic particles that later will get replaced, and once I was happy with the way it was looking, I went ahead to implement the logic. We wanted to make it so that every time it rains, the tiles would get watered, and to do that, I made it randomly add a little bit of water to some of the tiles every a second or so. This added a very nice visual where once the rain starts, the tiles slowly change color till they're full. Next was to make the rain into a storm, where lightning would sometimes hit one of the tiles, destroying any plant that was there. To make lightning hit, I made a simple timer, and based on a random chance, it would spawn the effect on one of the tiles, and then, if there's a plant, destroys it. Once I was happy with how those weather types were working visually, I went on to implement the other part of the system. Different weathers are supposed to affect plants and tiles in different ways. For example, rainy weather would make the tiles lose water slower, but plants would also grow a little bit slower. And that was when I realized that to finish this system, I had to completely rewrite a previous implementation of modifiers. So, after a few days of thinking about the best way to do that, I can almost say that the weather system is done. All that's left now is to implement the remaining visuals and any other weather types we might want.
This week for me has been mostly about gathering materials from stuff we've done in the past in order to give shape to this video, and lots of screen recording. It's really weird going back a few years and trying to make sense of our thought process, particularly considering that at the time we hadn't done a single game jam yet. For instance, here's an art decision from a while back that we had to backtrack on. Back when I was designing the veggies, we decided to keep a bit of earth in front of each design. We thought this would simplify things as it's easier to cover up and hide a bit of art over having to crop those bits out. But this ended up being a terrible choice. It meant that if we ever changed the color of the ground, which we did, I would have to edit this in all of the sprites and re-import them to Unity. This became all the more evident when we decided to change the ground color to go with the ground's moisture levels. It made the sprites completely unusable. So, back I went to crop every single veg and keep the bit underground transparent. It's little things like these that now seem obvious, but at the time, it was a learning curve for us. None of this would have been a problem during our usual work as animators, where every action is predetermined before we even create the assets. But we're still learning. By the way, we are also working on another game with a team called Jamfolk. I'll put their whatever we have, which is not much yet, but I'll put the stuff we have now. We're working on a horror 3D game there, actually. Our specialty is 2D. I'm not sure if I mentioned that before. We are 2D animators, both of us. Vilus is mostly self-taught. We have taken programming courses, of course, but he has been at it by himself for a while now, programming the game. But yeah, we are 2D animators. We can show a little bit of that as well if people are interested. Same with what we do at Jamfolk. We can show that. We can just show a little bit of everything. Yeah, hope you guys like these. I think that's it for now. This here is my disgusting keyboard. It cannot be washed, no matter how much I wipe it. This is what I work with. Here's some of the work we've been doing at Jamfolk. I'll leave links in the description if anyone's interested. Thank you.